normal meeting, well, this is normal. We've been walking in, but we're not walking in today. So normally, all of you guys will stand for my students, so that you know how protocol normally goes. When council comes in, it's just, I don't know why they stand, but the audience normally stands. Tonight, we will begin, or this afternoon, God, we will begin with a prayer and pledge. Prayer will be led by Priscilla Garcia, and then I will do the Pledge of Allegiance. Councilwoman?
Yes, let's bow our heads if you'd like to participate. Dear Lord, thank you for this beautiful spring day, and thank you for the opportunity for our students and our future leaders of Saginaw. Bless the staff and the council members as well, with ARPA dollars and everything, that knowledge, wisdom as we go forward. And just thank you for this day, and Jesus pray, amen.
Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Again, I'd like to welcome everyone, especially our students. Today is Student Government Day, and we have representatives from Saginaw High School, Success Academy, and Valley Lutheran. I had the privilege of spending the morning with these young people, and they were phenomenal. Earlier this morning, they did a mock interview, and the young man that played, the city manager, I told him all you needed to do was have on a navy blue tie, but then the city manager came in with a red tie too, so he's straight. And the young man who played me, he was phenomenal. He wanted to know the magical question: when does he get to bang the gavel? At the end of the day, it's always a good thing to have young people come in, because they are going to become our leaders of tomorrow. So it is always good. Hopefully next year we'll have a bigger crowd. My mayor, who is a young man from Valley Lutheran, now is when you get to say some of the stuff you want to say. For example, this is a public meeting. We will refrain from booing, clapping, and any obnoxious behavior. Everyone on council, silence your phones and your computers now. Audience, I ask that you do the same thing as well. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Sylvia.
Present.
Councilmember Williams.
Present.
Councilmember Balls is excused. Mayor Pro Tem Bench.
Present.
Councilmember Ostash.
Present.
Councilmember Garcia.
Presenta.
Councilmember Flores.
Present.
Councilmember Copeland.
Present.
And Mayor Moore.
Present.
You have 8 members present and 1 absent.
Thank you. Do we have any announcements?
Yes, Mayor, we have a couple. The yard waste pickup will begin the week of April 3rd, and collection will be on your regular trash day. And public hearings will be conducted at the April 3rd council meeting regarding the Hancock CSO Basin rehabilitation and the Sewer River crossing. The plans are available in the city clerk's office for public viewing. We have one proclamation on the agenda, and it's recognizing March 31st, 2023 as Cesar Chavez Day.
And it will be read by Councilman Williams.
Thank you, Mayor. City of Saginaw Proclamation, Cesar Chavez Day. Whereas Cesar E. Chavez, one of the most important Latino leaders in U.S. history, was born March 31st, 1927 in Yuma, Arizona, to Librado and Juana Chavez. And whereas young Cesar and his family moved to California following seasonal work after losing both their farm and store in 1937, as depression intensified and years of drought forced thousands off their land. In 1944, Cesar joined the Navy at the age of 17 and served for 2 years. And whereas Cesar Chavez toiled as a migrant farm worker alongside men, women, and children who performed daily back-breaking labor for meager pay and deplorable conditions. Cesar Chavez devoted his life to correcting these injustices and to remind us that every job has dignity, every life has value, and every person should have the chance to get ahead. Si se puede, yes we can. And whereas Cesar Chavez, an American labor leader, co-founded the National Farm Workers Association, also known as the UFW, Cesar Chavez became the best-known Latino American civil rights activist and was strongly promoted by the American labor movement. Chavez led his demonstrations with nonviolence and was instrumental in defending and protecting the rights for farm workers. And whereas the American GI Forum of Saginaw, a veterans organization, continues to celebrate and honor Cesar E. Chavez by forging his legacy of service, conviction, education, and principled leadership that serves as an inspiration for all Americans. Now, therefore be it resolved, I, Brenda F. Moore, Mayor of the City of Saginaw, on behalf of my fellow council members, do hereby recognize that March 31st, 2023, as Cesar Chavez Day in the City of Saginaw, and call upon the citizens of this community to reflect on and honor the life of this distinguished leader, veteran, and American. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Saginaw to be affixed this 20th day of March in the year of our Lord, 2023. Brenda F. Moore, Mayor, council members, Annie E. Bench, Mayor Pro Tem, Michael D. Balls, George Copeland Jr., Michael Flores, Priscilla Garcia, Monique Lamar Sylvia, Bill Ostash, and Reggie Williams II, Tim Morales, City Manager.
Can we have the representatives come to the podium, please? You know the routine. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Gil. Good, thank you. Thank you. Miguel, nice to meet you.
Gracias.
As always, we expect for you to say something because
Thank you very
this
much,
is not
Mayor.
a one-day, this is a yearly event that happens in our city and we need to honor it.
Thank you, Mayor Moore, and ladies and gentlemen of the council, honoring Cesar Chavez and presenting this proclamation. The American GI Forum continues to serve and honor the legacy of Cesar Chavez and the United States Farm Workers of America in this labor movement. In year 2023, the American GI Forum celebrates 65 years of service since 1958 as a chapter headed by our Dr. Hector Garcia, a Mexican-American physician, surgeon, World War II veteran, and a civil rights advocate and the founder of the American GI Forum in 1948, Corpus Christi, Texas. As we became a chapter, the American GI Forum has been involved in advocating civil rights for the Mexican-American veterans and their families, to include many activities that we participated in, such as the Cinco de Mayo, we lead that parade, a partnership with the Board of Education in community programs, honor guard funerals, and state and national events. In 2003, former Governor Jennifer Granholm proclaimed March 31st as Cesar Chavez Day in the state of Michigan. In 2003, the chapter had their first Cesar Chavez luncheon 20 years ago. 2 of those years we postponed because of COVID. This year, we celebrated 2022 8 students that received scholarships from our organization. Those students came from the Saginaw schools to include the county. One of those students was the valedictorian of 2022, his class. And that gentleman came from Arthur Hill High School. The American GI Forum also submitted a ARPA proposal to the Youth Development Committee. It's titled the Richard Pancho Gonzalez Tennis Academy. This academy is for 8 to 14-year-olds. The academy will be approximately 8 weeks, and they'll be functioning at the Garber Courts for at least 8 weeks during the summer, and then they will be transferred to the Saginaw Athletic Club during the winter months for another 8 weeks. Upon completion, they will receive a certificate of completion at this academy. That signatures on that certificate will be the director of the Saginaw Athletic Club, the American GI Forum commander, and yes, the mayor of the city of Saginaw. I would like to take this opportunity to just recognize the GI Forum women that are part of our group. We have 2 members here. First of all, Guadalupe Lupe Guevara, who's the chairperson of the women. Also, we have Juanita Janey Guzman, who's the treasurer of the Cesar Chavez activity this year. And of course, standing next to me, to my right, is our commander, Miguel Guzman. Let me just conclude by saying that since today is Student Government Day, we have a motto for the American GI Forum, and it says, education is our freedom, and freedom should be everybody's business. Madam Mayor, ladies and gentlemen of the council, thank you very much.
Those of you who did not know who that gentleman was speaking, I'm sorry. It is Gilbert Guevara. He is really, really active in the community. Normally, he said the missus name, but he didn't say he is, so I apologize. Madam Clerk.
Mayor, that takes us to public input.
Again, speakers will be courteous and respectful to others. You will be called to the podium by the city clerk. You have 3 minutes to speak, in which you are timed by the clerk. When your 3 minutes are up, you may have a couple of seconds to complete your final thought. Councilmen, okay, we're not there yet. We're not there yet. This is not a question and answer period, okay? If you have a complaint or you have something you'd like to say, it will be referred to the necessary department and our city manager. Madam Clerk.
Our speaker this afternoon is Lisa Coleman. And council, you have a handout, a brochure.
I know. How are you?
Good, thank you. Thank you, council. My name is Lisa Coleman. I'm the executive director of His Restoration Ministries right here in Saginaw. We are located across from the VA hospital on Weiss, where we house homeless pregnant women. These are women that are coming usually from domestic, or it could be a million different situations that they ended up unable to provide housing for them and their baby. They may be even choosing adoption. So we have a 4-unit complex where they can come and stay their entire pregnancy, and usually about up to 6 months after. We want to walk this journey out with them and helping them become independent, successful members of society with employment or education. We also, part of their staying there is to volunteer in the community, and also they must attend parenting classes. We do budgeting. Believe it or not, we have to do cooking. We just go from A to Z, really, I say. Whatever that individual mom needs is what we're gonna try to supply. I work with mental health, the police department, probation officers, usually whatever we need and whoever we need to bring in as a team to make this mom become successful in her journey, number one, as a parent and a mother to this, we feel, a gift she's been given. If she chooses adoption, we also help her through her journey, and once the baby's up for adoption, she can still stay with us and continue on with her education or employment, and we help her transition also into her own place. Let's see what else. Most importantly, it's about helping that mom, her journey of healing, let's just say that. A lot come wounded and hurt, they can't really be an effective parent to that baby if they're going through their own journey. So if we can help them get through that a lot better, we are faith-based, so we are gonna incorporate that in there also. And so, like I said, whatever that mom needs and whoever we need to bring in, we're gonna bring into the team. I'm always 99% of the time the one that's in there with delivery, cutting the cord, and there with that mother because she doesn't have a support team. So it's very important that we as a community support these mothers so that they can go on and become members of society. One of my favorite things that we're doing now is I'm taking them into the school with me when I read with kindergartners so that they can learn how to relate to teachers in a healthy way and be the advocate for their child if they're having problems in the future. And they're a team for their baby, for their child. So we're starting early and helping them know healthy communication.
Motion to extend the speaker's time by 45 seconds.
And so, like I,
Excuse us.
oh, I'm sorry.
There's a motion on the floor.
Second.
It's been moved to second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? You have 45 seconds.
Thank you.
One second. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. So, once again, like I said, we do start from A and literally to Z. In whatever that mother needs, we're here to help them. So thank you, community and council, for coming alongside of us because they are going to be working in this city, county, and so I thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk,
That takes us to council remarks.
council members, you have 3 minutes. No extension. 3 minutes. We will start tonight with Councilman Flores.
Thank you, Mayor. Happy Student Government Day for all the students that came. It's great to see you. I hope you learned something before you leave here. So I had talked about a shooting that had happened for a 17-year-old and a 20-year-old last meeting. They passed away. They were organ donors, so they saved a lot of lives. But if anybody has any information about their homicides or murder, please contact Saginaw Major Crime Unit at 989-578-2059. Or if you want to remain anonymous, call Crime Stoppers at 1-800-422-5245. And then congratulations to Saginaw High for their win over Flint Hamady to be the Division II Boys Basketball Regional Champions. That's a great accomplishment. We're all very proud of you. And then finally, for Cesar Chavez Day, as many of you know, I work in a union. I'm a union man. And Cesar Chavez was also somebody that was incredibly active in the labor movement. And there was a quote that he had said that is that people will not be judged by how big their government or community was and how much they supported the rich and the privileged, but how they had helped those that were less fortunate and in poverty. So for folks moving forward, especially in the city of Saginaw, I want to make sure that his principles and his quote continue on. And keep in mind that what we're trying to do here, hopefully, is to help those that aren't as fortunate move forward in the world. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Councilman Copeland.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you again. Welcome to our students. Being here celebrating Student Government Day, just want to say a special shout out to Success Academy. In the back, I was with you guys last month, so it's good seeing you all again. Also, thank you to our public speaker, Mrs. Coleman. Great seeing you, knowing you and your husband and the work that you all do and your standards and values that you uphold to serve the community. I'm thankful to hear from you today and thankful for what you're doing for young women in our community and supporting them. So thank you again for being here this afternoon. I do want to say think this is the first day of spring. I'm still trying to figure out what season we're in. I don't want to say it too fast. It may snow tonight, so knock on wood. Hopefully it doesn't. But I also want to say congratulations. I thank you for saying that to our Saginaw High basketball team, as well as Lionel Baldwin, who set a record for Arthur Hill by making third place in wrestling in the state of Michigan, the highest that Arthur Hill has had. So he made third place in the state of Michigan in wrestling, which is amazing. We've got some great people here in Saginaw. Saginaw is really on the map. If you really pay attention to it, I think sometimes we just have to toot our horn a little bit more. But we're making some moves in the state of Michigan, as well as this past month, there was an expungement clinic held at the NABE, which came out. We saw our county as well as a local community coming out to support our residents here in the city of Saginaw. So I also just wanted to make knowledge of that. I did hear that there was going to be another one, I think next month. So they're partnering again to make sure that we're supporting citizens here in the city of Saginaw. That's all that I have for today. I would say continue to keep those families. I've been getting those updates from the police department. I want to say, Chief Roof and your team, about the young lady at the hospital and how you all work to solve that case. Amazing work, amazing work. That is something that gave us peace, reading that article and seeing the emotional impact, but how we came together, not only the city, but the county, how we support each other. So thank you all for that and what our officers are doing and some of the violent crimes that's happening recently. So thank you for the work that you're doing. If anything I can say, continue to pray for the city of Saginaw. We're doing great things, but continue to pray for our youth, that they have hope, that they see the hope, and they know that there's greatness in store for them. So students, welcome again to the city of Saginaw and our council meeting. Great to see you.
Thank you. Next, we have Councilwoman Sylvia.
Thank you so very much. First of all, I'd like to say thank you so much to everyone that's present today for taking time out in your day to spend with the Saginaw City Council. I'd like to say welcome to our young people and also to Mrs. Coleman. She may not remember me. I met her years ago. I stopped by and spoke with her in regards to the work that they were doing. And I'm so glad to see that you guys are still going and going strong. Thank you so very much. Also, I'd like to say on April look at this good, so I won't. On April the 2nd at 3 p.m., the NAACP Saginaw branch will be hosting Overcoming Barriers to Generational Wealth. And we have panelists of Mr. Hurley Coleman III, Janae Lamar, Ryan McBride, Dr. Quintisha Walker, and Mr. David McMillan. They're all from Saginaw, and they are all leaders in the Saginaw area, so that is just so great. Also, I'd like to announce that the Special Needs 7th Annual Prom in the City is May 6th at 5 p.m. to 11 in Kochville Veterans Hall. And that's all I have to say. Thank you so very much. Have a great rest of the day.
Thank you. Next, we have Councilman Williams.
Thank you, Mayor. Good afternoon, and welcome to the students that we have here with us today, everyone actually, but the students especially for being Student Government Day. I would like to say that I hope that the young men that are wearing hats would take them off in council chambers. It would be greatly appreciated. Thank you. With that, I'd like to say that I want to thank the CAP organization. They held an event this past weekend to discuss law enforcement and the community, which overall I believe it was a very insightful and positive event. They're looking to host another. I would like to say hats off to Chief Ruth and Saginaw Police Department because they were praised for the way that they deal with the community, interact with the community, and also other local departments. What we need to do as a city and even council, we need to get MSP on board with being involved in our conversations because there is a huge problem with the way things are going in the streets when it comes down to how the citizens of Saginaw feel they are being dealt with. And that's something that needs to be addressed, but it needs to be addressed by MSP. And I'm saying that from this table as a councilman, because I do appreciate the efforts that have been put forth of getting the guns off the streets and making our city a little bit safer with the collaborative efforts. But at the same time, we all know that nothing's perfect. So those things that need to be addressed, we need them addressed. Our citizens need to hear from our state police. So this is an open invitation for them to come to the table, and I know that CAP will be reaching out as well invite them to the next event. So with that being said, that's it.
Thank you. Next, we have Councilman Ostash.
Thanks, Mayor. Just 100% in agreement with my fellow council members of what they've said so far, to not reiterate everything that they're saying. I do want to recognize something that happened over last week. My husband and I had the opportunity, along with Councilwoman Bench, to had the honor of being down in Lansing to witness the signing of Senate Bill 4. Senate Bill 4 amended the Elliott Larson Civil Rights Law in the state of Michigan and the state constitution, adding language for sexual orientation and gender identity. Elliott Larson went into effect in 1972. Mr. Larson, he was there for the signing, which was awesome, but Miss Elliott has since passed. So members of the LGBTQ community and their allies have continuously tried to introduce these protections to amend Elliott Larson since 1972. But I want to thank Senator Jeremy Moss from District 7, who is now, and I can call friend, for shepherding this legislation and getting it passed. Also, thanks to our 35th District Senator Kristen McDonald-Rivette for sponsoring the bill, and also to our 95th District Representative Amos O'Neill for sponsoring the House Bill HB 4003. History of the advocacy for the city of Saginaw and city council has been in 2014, Councilwoman Bench attempted to pass our own ordinance for civil rights protections, but we have also from this council table passed many proclamations for June Pride. We've also passed a resolution in April 12th of 2021 declaring the LGBTQ community as a protected class, where we were encouraging federal and local government to amend civil rights legislation. So I'm glad that the state of Michigan has finally taken this upon themselves after 50 years to do so. Congress, we're still waiting for the Equality Act, so hopefully some movement in that in the future. But it is important that we make sure that all classes, and I want to say all, are protected in the city of Saginaw. And I will always fight for each and every one of you and my constituents, making sure that your civil rights are protected and that your liberty is protected as well. And liberty is defined as the state of being free within society, free from oppression, restrictions imposed by authority on one's way of life, behavior, and political views. So that was a big moment. It was an honor to be there. We were also invited to the governor's mansion to celebrate the signing of the bill the week that it happened. So this is long overdue. Thanks for all the students coming out today. It's good to see you. I was trying to get out of work to be there in time, but I was not able to. But thanks for coming out and taking an interest in local government and how it works. Also, the NABE has been brought up. I want to try and get this in real soon. They're going to do a youth lock-in, which I think is great, on April 7th. This is going to be at 8 p.m. till 6 p.m. There's information on their Facebook page. There is a $20 charge, but I think this is a great opportunity for our youth that we always hear there's nothing to do. Now there's something to do, and you can do it with others in a safe environment. So thanks to the NABE for everything that you have been doing within our community. That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Councilwoman Garcia.
Good afternoon, concerned citizens of the community, those in attendance, our students that are here today, and also our viewers on TV. Just thank you for eating lunch with the young ones today. It was nice, my first time. Thank you for the American Legion Post 22 for hosting us. Getting to see the dogs was quite an experience. I didn't want to pet them, and I would listen to the police officers if they tried to send the dogs out. Just FYI. It was really nice getting to talk to some younger adults that were there with us at the luncheon. And just like I said, you got to step out of that comfort zone, because if you never do, you don't know where you're going to go in life. And that's exactly what I did to be here on council, one of the newest members. So just take that risk, because you don't know what that door is going to lead to in the future. So just make sure, if somebody's trying to guide you or mentor you, to take their advice. Even though we're young, we're hard-headed, because I know I still am. And just, they're trying to lead you for a reason. I was a young teen mom, And I appreciate Ms. Coleman for your information. I wasn't really aware of your organization, or I might have been in the past, but it sounds like it's really great, and I would like to volunteer and come and see, since I was a young teen mom, and feel like I can have some advice to offer to the younger youth. And like I said, sounds like a great program, so I'll try to stop by soon and come see you guys. And, yep, Cesar Chavez Day, I'm planning on attending. Hopefully I can get my work schedule switched to be there with, Cesar Chavez recognition, and education is very important. First generation college student, back then, when I was in high school, the main thing was for us Latino community to at least graduate from high school. That was a big accomplishment back then. But to be first generation with a master's degree with a young teen mom is a very big accomplishment for me. I'm proud, and I believe highly in education, because it's very, very important to have. And also, I've been a social worker in the community, so there's a lot of food giveaways. CAC's having one, the 22nd for the seniors, and then the next day, they're gonna have it to the general public, so they have quarterly. So make sure if you know of anybody in need with this, bridge card, being kind of not like the extra pandemic money, that they can go to these food giveaways. New Beginning Ministries on Hess, every Tuesday, starting at 4, they do give out food, and then also they have been giving out clothing for employment, or any types if you need clothing. So just make sure you go out, or, you know, ask one of us council members to guide you in the direction. Maybe we can help you for some resources out in the community if you need them for you, your grandparents, or relatives. Thank you for your time, and have a great rest of the day, and thank you for sharing it with us.
Thank you. Next, we have Mayor Pro Tem Lynch.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for being here. In particular, thank you to the students for joining us today. It was very nice to be able to spend some time with you guys at lunch and here during the mock council meeting. You guys did a really good job. You ran things a little bit better than we do sometimes, it seemed like. But very nice to see you guys. I've been here on council, so it was not my first student government day, but it was definitely an activity that I have missed, and I'm sure others have missed over the last couple of years when we weren't able to host students. But I think Ms. Davis had voter registration forms. So it's very important that you guys vote, even if you don't know exactly what you're voting for yet, and you don't see a purpose in getting registered now. Everything we do up here, everything all of your elected officials do, it affects you whether you realize it or not. You know, if everything is political, from your water to the clean air to the roads, all of that is political. And we all make better decisions when we get to hear from you guys, and you guys help us elect better people when you guys participate. And it's very important, especially if you're going away to college. You can get on the absentee voter list, and they can mail you an application. So you don't have to pay attention necessarily to when an election is coming. You will get an application in the mail giving you a heads up, and you can fill it out. They'll send you your ballot, and you can actually take the time to do the research and figure out how you want to vote on different proposals and which candidates you want to vote for. I had the pleasure of sitting with a little cohort of student government kids a few years ago, and a couple years after that, I reconnected with one of the young men who was part of that group. And he said, I don't know if you remember me, but I want to get involved in politics. I've had lunch with you, and he and I have worked together on some things, and he actually referred to me as his mentor, which meant a lot to me. But he's now working for Kristen Rivette. He is now working in the state senator's office, and I hope that some of that interest, you know, was piqued, you know, by coming here to Student Government Day. So we appreciate you guys being here. And as Councilman Ostash mentioned, we had the opportunity to go down to Lansing to see the signing of SB 4, which extended the protections that most of us already had to the LGBT community. And I have to mention it because, as he said, in 2014, I tried to pass an ordinance with a much different council, and it didn't go the way I had hoped. And over time, because people cared about the issues and continued to elect good people, this council evolved to a point where we were able to make incremental changes here, but these changes that we've needed for so long at the state level have been so overdue, and I am just so excited and grateful that this was able to happen, that I was able to be there to kind of come full circle and to see that happen. So I was very excited, and I will leave you with this. Google Daisy Elliott. Google Daisy Elliott. Learn who she is.
Last but not least, me. It's hard to follow my fellow council people because they've already said thank you. But I'm gonna say it again. Ms. Coleman, thank you so much for your presentation. There's always a need for help in the community. I will be traveling this weekend to Washington, D.C. for National Leagues of Cities and National Leagues of all of the mayors in the United States. I have the privilege of actually sitting down, having conversation with the president and the vice president on Monday morning. Y'all know what I'm going for already, okay? I'm going for some more money. Saginaw needs some money. It is not, it's not a normal thing, I think. And the city manager is so gracious because he could tell me, no, you can't go. This is not on the city either. So before anybody gets to talking and want to know, no, I sit on the board for National Leagues of Cities, as well as I'm still a representative for Michigan Municipal League. I've been representing you, even though you know I haven't been representing you. And I also sit now on the Mayors of the United States board. So, Saginaw is on the map, and there are some activities that are getting ready to happen on May 4th, the first Thursday in May at 12 noon. I'm asking for all citizens who believe in prayer will be on the front line. Prayer session starts at 12, but I'm asking you to come early so that we can feel the lawn. It is National Day of Prayer all over the United States, and I don't want Saginaw to be left out. In the second Saturday in May, and I'm trying to give you all these dates before I forget them, is our Clean Up to Meet Up. We will start cleaning up our city. Everybody talks about it. Don't talk about it this year. Let's be about it. Let's get out and let's help clean up our neighborhoods. I think April the 8th, I think it's April the 8th, I'll be announcing, I'll give you the update. Last year, we gave out 2,580 Easter baskets throughout the city. We will be doing that again, me and my team, the Community Coming Together group. We plan to give, the plan this year is 3,000 Easter baskets. And I'll keep you informed on when we're doing it and where it is. I don't know if it's gonna be Hoyt Park or if we're gonna do Celebrity Park, and they threw another park in. Saginaw has been doing a lot of different things. I've been to all kinds of meetings in the last 2 weeks. I really don't toot horns. It's all about being in the right place at the right time. That's how Saginaw is growing, because you now have leaders. Thank you very much. I'm real obedient. Madam Clerk.
That takes us to reports from the manager.
Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So first, I do want to thank everyone who was involved in planning the Student Government Day and participating. The Student Government Day has been posted between the city and the Saginaw American Legion Post 22 on Niagara since the late 1920s, so almost 100 years with just a few year interruption for COVID. So it's a great partnership with them, and thank you to the departments who hosted the students, the fire department, the water treatment plant, and other areas that did have tours today. And thank you to the students for participating. And I know the mayor did talk to them. She was on all of the tours about opportunities at the city to be on city council or serve on committees and commissions, but also jobs. So we have a lot of jobs here at the city, and it's not as easy to fill jobs today as it was years ago, but there are any number of types of positions we have at the city that we are constantly filling, from public safety, police and fire. We have only one of the few full-time fire departments in the region, and both police and fire training can be done at Delta College, wastewater and water treatment. Both of those have classes and have certifications at Delta College. Public administration, engineering, electricians, information technology, planning, accounting, all of these positions we have in the city, and are there's a high demand. We're also providing training now that we never had to do before. We're training for CDL drivers and water line replacement. So if young people are looking for jobs, or other kids in your class, let them know we have jobs here, and they can contact any of these department heads or through the city manager's office, and we'll put you in the right direction. And finally, I did also want to recognize a number of our city workers at the Maintenance and Service Division and the Water Treatment Plant, who started working Friday night through Sunday, and probably through this morning even, on several water main breaks, including a 36-inch transmission main that serves water to pretty much our whole region, and several 6-inch main line breaks in the city. And to give you an idea how they know that is going on, the water plant has a lot of systems to monitor output, and what they typically see is 15 to 17 MGD, million gallons per day. That's the one of the measures they use. That's how much they typically see outgoing, and I think Friday evening that went up to 44. So even if you can't see water coming out of the ground where our lines are, they can monitor that and work to find out where it is. So if you get a chance to see Phil Carwat, he has a lot of pictures, and it's pretty amazing to see a 3-foot water main that's broken up the way that it was. And I have to thank our foreman there for working pretty much all weekend, and our staff, as I mentioned, with our hiring and turnover, most of the staff on those crews have less than 2 years of experience. So I think on that size line, we've only done 2 or 3 replacements, counting this one, in 25 years. So great job by them figuring out what was wrong and how to replace that line. And they also had to work with a lot of our neighboring communities. I think it was a pre-stressed concrete line that we had, which isn't common, and they worked with the Water Supply Corporation that the city is partial owner to get supplies. So it's great to see all of those local units and of government working together. So great job by those guys. And we have another partnership in the city that has been going on for several years with the federal government. And Mr. Scott Simmons is here today. He's the refugee manager for the Shiawassee National Wildlife Refuge and Michigan Wetland Management District. And he's wanted to provide an update to council for some time. And I thought the Student Government Day would be a good opportunity for him to talk about what they do there and also what services they have. So, Scott?
Mayor Moore, council members, thank you so much for letting me come out today. And I also got to say, which I wasn't expecting, I find myself lacking hope occasionally in my own life, and the good y'all talked about and that's been represented today kind of renewed some of that. It overshadows some of that stuff that brings us down. And kudos to everyone involved with the student government. As people leaders, I think back to doing some of that in the future. What an opportunity for them to get to see government in action. So that's awesome. So why am I here? I guess I wanted to tell you that we suffer as a federal agency with a little bit of an identity crisis, and that is self-inflicted in our own. We get referred to as Department of Natural Resources, that park, that forest, what have you. And I just wanted to share that we are the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. I won't read the mission, but they're up there. At the end of the day, we are there to protect and enhance all of the wildlife and habitats for the American public. Now, within that, I represent what's called the program, the National Wildlife Refuge System. We are the public land base. You actually are one of 560-something that has one in your city across the country, and we manage that land to help the agency achieve that mission. I have had the privilege of working in a lot of places. I married many years ago I don't know if y'all are referred to as native Saginawans, but nonetheless a lady from Saginaw, and we have found ourselves back here over the last year and a half. So we've experienced a lot of staff loss, staff transition, which brings me here. Most of you, if you are familiar with us, know us as Shiawassee, as he stated, the National Wildlife Refuge or what have you, but we do a lot more than that, and I won't go into the what we do. I would love to get you out there sometime and talk to you more about that. But we manage the Shiawassee, which is 10,000 acres in your backyard. We also manage the 14-county Wetland Management District, and we also manage Michigan Islands National Wildlife Refuge, which is a complex of islands in Thunder and Saginaw Bay. And in the briefing paper I sent you, I referenced what we call our standards of excellence. These are 8 simple statements with a lot of meaning. And while they were developed out of the Urban Wildlife Conservation Program, which we absolutely are, we have realized as an agency they are applicable across every refuge. Matter of fact, in May, our agency director from DC, Martha Williams, will be visiting Saginaw, and we will be talking about this. The one thing I think we've missed out on thus far that I hope we take the opportunity, I believe the refuge has an opportunity to serve as what I'll call an anchor institution for the city of Saginaw. I think we could leverage the economic strength. I think we could leverage the human and technical resources that we can bring to the table to increase the long-term health and social welfare of our community. And I am extremely passionate and excited. And matter of fact, that's what I've been spending the last year and a half doing, which brings me to this point of interest. So this is, and I'm still learning my way around the city of Saginaw, but this is off of Maple Street within the city limits. We obviously are managing a lot more land than this, but focus on the red polygon or line for me. That is the old historic Germania golf course that was given to the refuge. We have access to a lot of external funding to do incredible work there, to take a golf course and turn it into a natural habitat. And the amount of opportunity that's present for the citizens of Saginaw, whether that's public amenities, outdoor recreation, education, the sky's unlimited, quite frankly, and that's what we're working on. However, the yellow area, that is 80 acres that is owned by the city. It also contains the Greenpoint Environmental Learning Center. Looking at the architecture, it looks like it was probably 1970s built. And I'm guessing none of us were highly involved. I know I wasn't. Maybe some of you were, or maybe you're aware, but if not, that was part of a 1999 settlement with General Motors and a consent decree with the Department of Justice. Due to the city's processes or not wanting to or whatever, due to the charters that exist, rather than divesting of it through that, it was leased to our agency for 99 years for $1. Most likely, that was probably what we thought would be a formula for success. I'm here to tell you that, like a lot of things, we learn and we get better and we adapt, and it's really constrained us, and that's what I want to share with you today. So the current story, again, we're in a 99-year lease with the city, and just like I heard Mayor Moore say, the city doesn't have unlimited funds, nor does any city. But the issue it causes for us, I'm not able to tap into those federal dollars, specifically what I'll call the deferred maintenance dollars. We cannot, by law, spend federal money on property we don't own. So it's kind of a conundrum we're sitting in. If I could have the square footage or claim the square footage, then I can tap into our deferred maintenance. I do not know that I can predict the future, but I assure you, above anybody, I'm willing to create that with you. My ask is that we work through the processes, whether that's with staff or you all, with public vote, consent decree amendment, what have you, to get that off of the city's books and into our books so that I can then begin to work on the solution with the environmental education, you name it, that could be occurring at that area and that facility. And I will stop there and take questions or comments if possible.
Do we have any questions? Your presentation must have been good because you have no questions.
Thank you.
Mr. Manager.
That concludes the management update.
Okay. Madam Clerk.
On to the consent agenda.
The agenda has been available at City Hall, and on the city webpage and on SGTV, Channel 191. I need a motion to approve the consent agenda, leaving room for exceptions.
So moved.
Support.
It's been moved in support. Do I have any exceptions? Yes.
Yes. 2, 6, and 7.
2, 6, and 7. Are there any more? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Madam Clerk.
Item number 2 is to approve the recommendations for the 2023 single lot special assessment tax roll.
Councilwoman Lamar.
Okay. What I wanted to get a clear understanding, there were, from the information we received, 4 objections. I'm wondering if this is approved, does that negate the fact that the people objected to the property taxes? How does this, in other words, how do these 4 people fare in regards to approving this?
Well, if it's approved, then they would be charged the assessment.
Thank you.
Any other concerns about number 2?
It looked like, Lori had something to say.
Pardon me?
May I ask, Lori a question?
Okay.
And my question is, can you just say what you were gonna say?
Yes.
What you were trying to share.
Just that there's some recommendations that some be charged and some were
Okay.
not going to be charged. So it's the language on the council communication, the recommendations of the department.
Sorry. Thank you, Laurie.
Okay, I didn't get that.
In other words,
That's what I need.
as always, everything is on an individual basis. Some people come, there were people that came to our last meeting, was it the last one or the one before? The last meeting, I think, and they spoke about it. Those people have been taken care of. So there's always room for a little wiggle, exceptions to the rule, especially those who come in. If you come in and say nothing, how can you work when you don't know what they want you to work for? Is that a little better?
Not really, simply because some people, one person came in and spoke, but you also have people that wrote in. So I guess they had a choice of writing in or coming in.
Right.
And they wrote objections, so wouldn't they have the same?
They do.
Okay.
But
They
it's-
do.
If, in the packet, it shows there are two that are removed and 2 that are, remain.
Okay, thank you very much.
Motion to accept number 2?
Second.
Been moved. To read a second. It's been moved and second. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Madam Clerk.
Item number 6 is to approve to grant the city manager the authority to execute the subdivision and special district settlement participation forms and any and all other documents related to the proposed partial settlement of the national opioid litigation with Teva, Allergan, CVS, and Walmart.
Councilwoman Sylvia.
Okay, thank you very much. What I wanted to know, in regards to this, is this just the, to execute to approve the grants, et cetera? Is that also saying that, you would have the wherewithal to put those or use those dollars where you wanted, or would using those dollars come to city council and/or the citizens of the city of Saginaw?
This would be authorization to join that lawsuit. That's all this is.
Okay.
And execute those forms. Those dollars are severely limited on the use anyway, because it's all outlined in the lawsuit.
Thank you. Motion to accept.
Well, I gotta,
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, there has to be a motion before anybody but Councilwoman
Right, so
Sylvia
she was
can
doing
ask
the motion.
questions.
I'll support the motion.
It's been moved and second. Now we can ask questions, right? Councilman Flores.
thank you, Mayor. What's been done with the 1,48,732 that the city is already?
Well, we received it, but we haven't expended any funds yet.
What are the plans to?
We're still determining on what that will be, because it is severely limited on what we can do. We don't offer treatment, so, primarily one thing we're looking at is additional Narcan purchases and ways to distribute that. Looking at what some other communities have done with that, and if the amount of dollars continues to grow, like my thought would be, we probably need to look to partner with an organization or hospital or county that does provide treatment for opioid addiction.
Do we have any facilities in the city, or those are all township and regional facilities that provide?
Yeah, I'm not sure if we do or not, if it's, Chief may know more, but it might be probably, if we look to the city, we'd first look with the health department and see if they offer anything.
Yes, Councilman Ostash.
Just going to help the conversation a little bit. So you're right, Tim, these are very restricted, and you're talking about the county, and if you're, council members, just to remember that the county does have a harm reduction program, and we did some ordinance changes on that last year, I can't remember, so that might be something that's a possibility that we could look to partner with them a little bit. Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I didn't hear you. When you
What I
turned
just
it
said?
in?
So, yeah, so we partnered, it was with the Community Foundation, Great Lakes Bay Health Centers, our police department, and it was through the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. Saginaw County was really the only county that really didn't have a harm reduction program or a safe syringe program. So we brought that in, we made the ordinance changes so that we could actually distribute the paraphernalia, but also our police department still had the teeth to claw back any illegal syringe, about 2 years ago?
2 years ago.
Thank you. And so hence from that whole program, moving forward, they got the big mural, but also parts of that I liked about it, because when they first approached me with that, I was like, what do you mean you want to give people needles? But when you get them into the harm reduction program for opioids and or heroin addiction, there's a 5 times more likely recovery of the person that's in the program. But also for our first responders, like our fire department and those, it was like a 66% reduction in needle sticks. Because you're taking care of the program, you're helping them through, you're getting the dirty needles back. The other big part of this for me was too, is the reduction in HIV prevention of over 80%. Because even now with inflation, back then it was about $425,000 per patient over their lifetime. So that's even increasing. So going back, it'd be something for us to consider, and I know the managers brought it up, but that program is a really worthwhile program for the county.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
It's been motioned and second. All those in favor, I'm sorry, any more discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Madam Clerk.
Item number 7 is to approve the fiscal sponsorship agreement with the Saginaw Community Foundation for possible capital improvement projects or programming at the Anderson Enrichment Center for the Public Services Department.
Councilwoman Sylvia.
Thank you. I guess this is more of a clarity because it reads, possible capital improvement project. So I'm wondering if it's a possible project, is it also possible that it's not going to be a project? And if it states in the information that you gave us, City Manager, that if they don't, you're also going to attempt to secure future funds. So my other question would be, if you don't get those funds, what's going to happen with the funds you do receive if it's not to the amount that is necessary to take care of this particular situation?
You got Mr. Caldwell at the podium. He's going to answer it for you.
All righty, thank you.
Yeah, so the intent of that is, if you guys understand the relationship between the city and the Saginaw Arts and Enrichment Commission and the Anderson Enrichment Center, there was like a MOU. I think Marcia Braun spoke a meeting or two ago, gave you kind of an explanation of how that process works, but so for the most part, that entire facility is funded by dollars that are raised through the Arts and Enrichment Commission through grant funding and grant writing, but a lot of that goes through programming and different events that they offer. There's little to no money that can go into capital to maintain the facility. And in order for the city to do it, it would have to come from general fund dollars, as you're aware of, which we haven't had historically many dollars to do that. So the intent behind that is we have, and I have probably 24 projects in front of me that are adding up to the just over $230,000 of capital needs that building has. So we're not guaranteed we're gonna get any of these grants that we're gonna attempt to write, but in hopes that we start writing some grants or fundraising, we're gonna run that through the Saginaw Community Foundation, because that's where a majority of the grants are gonna work. And we do have this process in place for 2 or 3 other areas, Dindorfer Woods. I mean, I think you guys have approved some of these throughout the year, so it just works great. And what'll happen is we'll continue to raise the funds and get them in here and just start depleting these capital improvement projects on the most critical one first. So all of the dollars that we receive, regardless of the time limit of it, are gonna go towards these capital improvement projects. Now, I didn't spell them out in the packet because it would have just lengthened it, but if anybody needed a copy of the capital improvement needs that are needed there right now immediately, I can get that to you. And what I can tell you is and we have had something catastrophic type happen where a furnace had went out in the past, we didn't have funds budgeted. We do our best to go within our own budget and try to find dollars, but the the Arts and Enrichment Commission and the Anderson Enrichment Center have been very great at working with the Community Foundation to also find money to help us when we're in those emergency situations. But we're trying to avoid those so that we can continue to operate out of that facility.
Thank you so very much.
Question answered? Yes.
I'd like to get a copy, though.
No. before we go to the next one, I've got to put a motion on the floor.
Motion to
Then-
approve.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. Do you know how long the lifetime of the MOU is?
The MOU, I don't think had a lifetime on it. I think it's in perpetuity. There wasn't an expiration date on the memorandum. I believe both parties could withdraw it within 90 days, if for any reason. For the MOU with the Arts and Enrichment Commission? Yeah, that would be there wasn't an end date. And I think that's been in place for over 20-some years now.
Oh, wow.
Maybe 30.
Oh, wow. Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And for me, I just want to make sure I get the clarification. What we're approving is the partnership with these organizations so we can work together to get the grant funding to get these updates. And this is, part two of my question is this something we're doing this because in hopes of possible contract that we could possibly receive?
Yep, so what this is it's an agreement between the city and the Saginaw Community Foundation for them to be a fiscal sponsor of any dollars we receive, and they will house them, and then there's a 4 or 5 page agreement between the city and the Saginaw Community Foundation. For us to just funnel the funds through them, any grant funds we receive, especially with the majority of them coming from them. Otherwise, every time we get a grant or do it, it could be just a paperwork nightmare to try to bring it back and forth to council every time we get grant funding or whatever. So that's kind of how the Community Foundation is, they do this for us in 3 or 4 different areas already.
You can also, and it's not just grants, they can accept donations, so if people
Right.
want to donate to repair the building. But if you can't necessarily donate to city government and have a write-off like you can if it's a community foundation.
Yes.
Okay. 2 things. I guess we want donations.
Take
And also the information, the projects you spoke of, I'd like to get copies of
Sure.
those at your
I will
convenience.
email them over to the manager's office. And he can
Thank
get-
you so very much.
You're welcome.
Yes.
And stop me if I cannot talk about this, but because there's the one after this that's really talking about the possibility of the conference coming to Saginaw. Is this something we kind of put out there to the organization that these are some things we'll be working on? Or are we just doing this in hopes of, has there been any conversations with that organization, or we're just doing this in hopes of?
No, so for instance, right now, like this really came from the Arts Center. This one here, and if you're speaking on Council Communication Aid, it's another fiscal sponsorship agreement, but with the Saginaw County Visitors and Convention Bureau for the Henry Marsh Plaza project. So there's actually 7 and 8 are one in the fiscal sponsorship agreements, but if that's what you're asking. But yeah, no, we're working with Annie Rummo on that one, and we're working with Marcia Braun and Lori Rittenberry on the one you guys are asking about now.
Keep in mind, there's been funding coming in for the Arts Enrichment Program for years, and they always didn't run through us. Saginaw Foundation has been for those. Saginaw Foundation has always been the catch for a lot of grants, and they're the catch-all for a lot of our community organizations as well, such as CAC, such as First Ward. They actually have people who donate or who are looking for places to give money. And so anytime we can find somebody who want to give some money, we all should say, we're in. So that's how that goes. So it's been moved in second. Any more discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Madam Clerk,
Your next item is board, commission, and committee reports.
do we have any reports from any boards or commission? Yes.
I just wanted to announce that this Thursday, March 23rd, the City-County School Liaison meeting has been rescheduled for 5:30 at the Board of Education. So please come out.
Anyone else? I'm asking for an update on what the Saginaw School County Liaison is doing. I need an update. You guys have been meeting. We need an update on what's going on. Are you working on something? Are you just sitting back thumbing it? We need to figure out where we're going with this. Saginaw is moving forward, and there's some things that the school district has been working on, and I just want to know if you can come back and give us a report after your meeting, letting us know what's going on so that we can spread it in the community. If we don't know, we can't talk about it.
We'll say last meeting, we meet every 3 months, and the last
Right.
meeting was canceled, so
Right.
that's why I don't have
Well-
anything currently.
No, I'm just saying, moving forward, we're gonna have to start coming back to the table reporting so that everybody up on council knows exactly what's going on in this city, so that we don't get the misinformation that we get so often. Does that make sense to y'all?
Yes.
Yes, Mayor.
Okay. Are there any more boards and commission reports? I've been meeting with the airport board, me and the city manager and the city attorney. We're getting better. We're getting better. They're trying to get some more planes to come into Saginaw, because I hate going to Detroit to catch a flight, because we don't have it here. So it's getting better. If my fellow council persons are not on boards or commission, I am recommending that you become involved in a board or commission so that you can let the citizens know that you are actively involved in something in the community. Anybody else got something? Okay. Madam Clerk.
Our next item is appointment of board, commission, committee members, and we have one on the agenda. It's
I need
to-
a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Madam Clerk.
We are now at resolutions. We have one certifying the 2023 single lot special assessment tax roll.
I need a motion to adopt.
So moved.
Any discussion? Mike? Oh, you was flicking. I didn't know if you wanted to talk. Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Madam Clerk,
We are now at miscellaneous business.
do we have any other motions or anything that we need to discuss? Yes, sir.
I need proper clarification about is there a way for me to ask a question? I didn't make the amendment for Council Communication 8, but I did have a question. Do I have to wait until our next meeting to bring it back up, or how is there a problem?
You snooze, you lost. I don't know. A city attorney,
Has
city
been
clerk.
approved, but perhaps you can email a question into the city manager and he can get you information.
You down there sleeping for?
It didn't come to me until we started talking about 7.
For all these kids.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. I motion that the city manager invite a representative of the Michigan State Police to come and give us either a status report or a contract progress report at the next council meeting.
Support? Second.
Make a motion to amend that, to be, not at the next meeting, but at their earliest convenience, because that might be a lot to put on the manager to expect the MSP to be here in 2 weeks.
So not to have them.
To have them.
Okay,
She's made a motion, though.
you made the motion.
But then she made a motion.
I made a motion to amend, just that it be at the MSP's earliest convenience, because that might not be something Tim can make happen in 2 weeks. Not sure.
And might not accept.
It's been moved. Do I have a second? Because we need to go into discussion. We can't discuss anything until I get a second.
Second.
It's been moved in second. Now we're into discussion.
And just on the motion to amend.
Correct.
You're only discussing the motion to amend.
We have already discussed the motion to amend, right?
Correct.
Okay, so, we got any questions?
Has it typically been an issue to get?
Can I recognize you, Councilman Flores?
Evans wants to meet.
See, we gotta do it right, because we want the students to do it right when they do it.
Correct, they do it better than us.
Someone else has their hand up.
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. Has it been an issue prior upon such a request to not have any representative come in?
No, they will attend meetings, other meetings or
Yeah.
council meetings when we request them, and I guess they can turn it down if they want to. We don't have a contract with them. They're here on on the state's authority, but would not be an issue to invite them to come and talk.
Okay, thank you.
No, I was just gonna say, the first motion was simply to put out the invitation, and like
Right.
the manager just stated, they can turn down, so, and I would hope that the earliest convenience would be at the next meeting, but, I mean, I don't think it's necessary to amend the motion, because the invitation was just to put out the invitation.
No, but it had a time frame. It said at the next meeting.
Right.
So in case you can't get them for the next meeting, give them some time.
Well, then if they can't make that, then we just make another motion for the meeting after that, but their earliest convenience, I mean, you can put out earliest convenience for anybody, they can say 6 months from now, but we have an urgency from the community to hear from them.
So that may mean that because they are now aware of it, if they even are aware of it, they may be at the next one.
Right.
So it can say, I'm gonna leave that alone. Yes,
Can I please have a repeat of the main motion?
the main motion.
You're on the amendment right now, so
We're on the
Okay,
amendment right
all
now.
Okay.
The amendment was just simply not to put a time frame on it. The first one was, okay, so we got a motion on the floor.
This is the second, the
It's
amendment.
been moved to second, the amendment. And the amendment again is, Madam Clerk,
for the city manager to invite a representative of the MSP for a status report at their earliest convenience.
is everybody okay? Calling for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Nay.
Roll call vote.
Councilmember Williams.
Nay.
Councilmember Bowles is absent. Mayor Pro Tem Bench.
Yes.
Councilmember Ostache.
Nay.
Councilmember Garcia.
Nay.
Councilmember Flores.
Nay.
Councilmember Copeland. No. Councilmember Sylvia.
No.
And Mayor Moore.
No.
That motion, the amendment is denied.
Now we're back at the original amendment.
The
Which
original
was?
motion for the city manager to invite a representative from the MSP for a status report at the next meeting.
It's been moved in second. Any discussion? Yes.
Not, okay, a status report, is that what it said?
No.
Okay.
Did she say status
That
report?
was the motion by Councilmember Flores.
A status report.
Correct.
Okay.
What? Operation.
I'm not trying to change the motion or anything, but just in conversation, we need more than a status report, in my opinion, especially after hearing the citizens of Saginaw and from several citizens of Saginaw. I don't know if report is the operative word. You might can help me, but, you know, I don't want to be out of order by speaking to my fellow council person, but it seems like we need more than a report. We need to know what that, let me ask this, let me change it. Would that entail what they're doing and how they're doing it? That's the question. I don't know where that question goes or who am I asking that question to, but I'd like to know if that is part of it. And if I could ask Councilman Reggie Williams, who probably has more expertise in that area, to respond to the question. Can I do that, Madam Mayor?
He can do it.
Okay. thank
Mr.
you.
Williams is gonna speak anyways, because he itching. He itching to get it on this law enforcement stuff. So he's gonna speak anyways. I think, not trying to take away from anything, I truly do believe that this is not going to be a one-shop meeting. There will probably be some more encounters where we asked afterwards, and this will not be a jump-on session. This will be Tell us what you're doing, and let's work together. Councilman Williams.
I was just gonna state that this forum here this is a perfect spot for the report. And then whatever else the community wants after that, organizations can, just like this past Saturday, host events and whatnot for a more intimate setting for those discussions. But to have them come and give a report, I think that from here, that's what is needed. But what you're talking about, that can be handled definitely through community participation.
Community involvement.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thanks, Mayor. To go along with the conversation, I was not able to make the meeting, but I did watch it recapped afterwards, so I know everything that was said. And you're right, Reggie, Councilman Williams, and Councilwoman Monique, the message I was hearing is people want a conversation, because one of the things that came out of that is MSP doesn't understand our community the way our Saginaw Police Department understands the community. So they're kind of here to do that preemptive work that the chief has talked about in the past, where our police officers sometimes are more of the proactive or acknowledging things after things have taken place. That's just because of our staff constraints. So I too like this idea, maybe a report, but I think a community conversation where even that the MSP could hear our citizens, because one of the things I thought to myself about that meeting on Saturday was, where's the conversation with our law enforcement? But not to beat them up. We don't want to beat the hell out of them, but just so that they're here, so that they can hear what's going on. Because I learned a few things from that meeting too. Not all of us understand what happens when cars are pulled over, or pulled over for certain reasons, okay? So you got my heart on that one.
Councilman Copeland. I didn't forget you.
No, I was just gonna, if possible, we can just, some of the things that Councilwoman Lamar Sylvia shared, to possibly email that to our manager, so prior to them even coming, they have an idea of what we're looking for. Just because I don't think a lot of times we're beating up, I just think that we are spirited, and we have a lot of citizens who have a lot of emotions and have been holding on to things, and now we're in a space where they're feeling heard. And so it's not always beating us up, it's finally having their voice heard, and that's how they're releasing it. But I do appreciate that, because I do have questions, because this has been in the news. They just filed a report in Flint of 2 state officers that have been indicted. And so it's not a jump on session, but we do need some form of accountability and know how that's being done in the city of Saginaw. So I greatly appreciate that question, and thank you for the motion.
Yep, I will send that. If you have specific questions, just send them along, and we'll get them to the state police. But I will say, they have always come to meetings that we asked. We had a meeting with the Mexican American Council probably a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, and if people want to engage with the state police, they do need to be invited.
Thank you.
We had them, I think they're coming to the next NAG meeting, and they go to a lot of the neighborhood meetings as well that are hosted by the chief, or that the neighborhood associations host themselves. So they're available, and I don't think it will be a problem to get them here to the next meeting.
Great, okay, good.
Yeah, and they do show up in the community if they get invited, because they were at the Mexican Civic Council. I mean, they've been at several events in the last 2 months, where if you wanted to ask questions, you can ask questions, but the key thing is that you gotta ask. If they don't know, what they gonna show for? Anything else? Wait, did I do the vote? Lord, y'all doing too much. Doing too much up in here. There's a motion on the floor, it's been moved in second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Anything else? I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved in second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. And all those opposed, nay. You wanted to know when I bang it? I bang it when it's over.